Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk KFYO. Joining us on the phones right now, always a pleasure to visit with our next guest, the national spokesperson for the RNC, Liz Harrington, joining us once again here on the Chad Hasty Show. Liz, good morning. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Chad?
We're doing fantastic. Appreciate you taking some time today. A busy day for you guys over at the RNC as we have another debate tonight, a vice presidential debate tonight. And Liz, I think this time, this is going to be a very important debate, if for no other reason, to show, hopefully, the nation who Kamala Harris really is.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, because this is an opportunity to actually talk about her record, what radical policies she supports. This is an original co-sponsor of the Green New Deal in the Senate. This is an original co-sponsor of the Bernie Sanders socialized medicine plan. And we haven't even gotten into, the media is not even covering it. They're not even touching it. But her record in California is one of sending armed agents into the homes of independent journalists, not for breaking a crime, but for exposing one of her campaign donors, Planned Parenthood. This is a record of using her office, her power as the state attorney general, to harass conservative groups and go after the donors of Americans for Prosperity. Oh, does that sound familiar? That's what Obama and Biden did with the IRS going after Tea Party groups. Is it any wonder why the swamp chose Kamala Harris as its successor? She fits right in with the corruption, with the cabal. We're seeing all what Obama and Biden did with John Brennan and Hillary Clinton to spy on their opponents and to absolutely try to destroy the peaceful transition of power in this country. These are important issues that I think are going to come up tonight, and I think Vice President Pence is going to do such a great job of not only exposing how radical the Democrats are with Kamala Harris, but also defending our record and showing our vision for the country, which we know what's possible under President Trump. Nothing is out of reach for Americans. We had the lowest unemployment, the lowest poverty rates on record, the highest wage growth, the highest median household income on record in 2019 because of President Trump's policies. And that's our vision for the country. We're not just going to get back to where we were. We're going to get in a better position because we're going to hold China accountable. We're going to bring our jobs back, and we're never going to be beholden to a communist regime for our core medical manufacturing supplies again. That's going to come up tonight as well.
One thing that I hope also comes up, because Kamala Harris, she's been doing the same thing that Joe Biden has been doing when it comes to the question of court packing. And I don't understand why the press allows, I guess I do understand why the press allows them to get away with this. But to me, saying that you're not going to answer a question because then it would become an issue in a presidential election, how does someone get away with that? That you don't want to answer about fundamentally changing, the United States by court packing, and they get away with not answering the question because they're just the Democrats.
Right. It's you have to elect them to find out what's left of the Constitution,
Yeah.
which will be very little if, God forbid, they took power, because that's what they're saying. Kamala Harris was one of the first Democrats to go on the record and say she's open to court packing. What does that mean? That means that these Democrats will have a litmus test where they'll only appoint radical left-wing judges who aren't judges at all, but just political activists that will legislate from the bench, and they'll stuff the court with these judges. So you don't have to win elections on the issues. You don't have to have the debate with the American people. You just jam it through. You get rid of the filibuster. You make D.C. a state. You usher in one-party Democrat rule like they have in California. How's it working out for them? With rolling blackouts and forest fires because they don't clean up the forest and they don't do their fundamental job as government. They let riots go unabated, but you can't go to church. That's the one-party rule in store if Democrats got in power, because they're saying your individual rights are out the window. We're just going to pack the Supreme Court, eliminate the separation of powers, and never relinquish power again. And think about that, because Democrats lost an election in 2016. They never accepted it, and now they're saying, we will never let ourselves lose again. We'll never have the debate with the American people. We'll never have to say what we're going to do. It's just our way or the highway. And they'll just scrap the rules and destroy the Constitution. And then they'll never have to debate. They'll never have to bother with the pesky little voters again. I mean, that's what they're saying, and it's really dangerous, and I can't wait. Don't expect it from the moderator, but Vice President Pence is going to call her out on this, because this is the biggest issue, I think, that has come up in a presidential election in our lifetimes, packing the Supreme Court. And they're telling us what they're going to do, even if the media won't ask them anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Visiting with Liz Harrington here on the Chad Hasty Show. Now, of course, the news media won't ask about that, but I'm sure during the next presidential debate, they will ask about the worst thing President Trump has ever done, which is, of course, remove his mask when no one is standing around him. On that issue, with the president, having COVID-19, obviously he's not on the campaign trail right now, and he's a rock star. Whenever he does get out there and he's visiting with people, wherever he goes, it's packed. Does the RNC fear losing any ground right now with the president not being able to go out and campaign?
No, not at all. Obviously, we want him to be back out there as soon as he's possibly able. Dr. Connolly was explaining the great technology that we have access to now. They can determine the exact moment when there's not even a shred of live virus, so that he won't be a danger to anyone around him. Obviously, we want to take those precautions, but we're picking up the slack while he's not on the campaign trail. So tonight is the VP debate, but after that, Operation MAGA, the biggest surrogate operation, in-person events led by Vice President Pence, members of the First Family. We're going to be all across this great country holding events. I mean, we have over 2 million volunteers who are knocking on doors every single day, talking to Americans, talking to their neighbors, telling them, just talking about the issues. What do they care about? What do you want in this country? Do you like the country? Do you still like America as it was founded? Do you still like the opportunities we were blessed with in this country? That's what's at stake in this election. So we're going out there. We're doing so many events. You can go to TrumpVictory.com and just put in your zip code, and you can find out what's going on. We're doing virtual events as well. Anything that you want to get out there and be comfortable with, we have that option for you. And it's so important. We're less than 4 weeks away. Early voting is underway in so many different states. We have to get people out to vote. It's so critically important. And President Trump, he's not going to stop working. He worked all throughout the weekend in Walter Reed. And I just want to say thanks to so many of our great Americans who poured out their love, poured out their hearts, prayed for this president. It's just overwhelming, the amount of love that we saw over this weekend. And keep it up, because the country's really at stake. We know President Trump has sacrificed so much to come to Washington and try to actually bring real change, and he's delivered. And so we're going to continue to fight for him, because we know he's the right man at the right time to lead this great nation and keep America free.
Liz, before I let you go, I want to ask you about a question for Texas here. And, you've got some of these Democrat groups like the Lincoln Project, Beto O'Rourke's PAC that's out there. And, of course, the Biden campaign dropping an extra $6 million in Texas. Does that change anything that the RNC does, or is that something that y'all been anticipating?
Well, that is something we've had to deal with. And, I would just remind people, think about 2016. Hillary Clinton had, twice as much money as we did. She spent twice as much. But at the end of the day, candidates matter, issues matter, results matter. And Americans know they can spot a smarmy career politician a mile away. This ain't Joe Biden's first rodeo. In fact, it's his third time running for the presidency. Where has he ever delivered? Where has he ever delivered results? And now he's made this devil's bargain with the socialist wing of his party. Bernie Sanders writing the platform. They've just completely caved to the radical left. Americans can see through it. No amount of, slickly produced ads full of lies can change that. And Americans, I think, are going to vote according to the issues that really matter to them. And it's all about freedom and opportunity, and not allowing a virus born out of a communist regime lying to the world. We're not going to allow that to throw out our Constitution and throw away our freedoms and say there's no hope, there's no miracle coming, just hide in your basement for big government to have a plan over every aspect of your life. No, we're Americans. We fight back and we win and we adapt and we overcome. It doesn't mean that there's no risk. It doesn't mean that there's no danger. But Americans fight back. We beat challenges back, and we're not going to allow Democrats to use this as an opportunity to seize power over our lives and pull a page out of Communist China's playbook to beat a virus that they unleashed upon the world with their cover-up in their lies. So that's a huge issue. It needs to come up tonight, because it didn't come up anytime Biden gets in front of the camera in his town hall the other night. Not a single question about Communist China, when his family has received literally billions from the Chinese Communist Party. It's absolutely reprehensible. Who is going to hold China accountable for this and never let them do it again? It's President Trump.
Liz Harrington, always a pleasure to visit with you. We'll let you get ready for tonight's vice presidential debate, and we appreciate you joining us.
It's always good to be with you, Chad. Get out and vote.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's Liz Harrington with the RNC.